welcome to Sea News Somaliland. I am your host, Saeed Issa Eleyeh. Tonight, we have a very special guest from our new friends, Israel, or the State of Israel. The first country and the only UN member state that has recognized Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state. Tonight, we have a Tom Wegner, who is the founder of the Israeli Somaliland Friendship Association. We have also got Ora Fishman, and she is the director of the association. Both of you, welcome to Sea News Somaliland.
Thank you, shalom and salam alaikum.
Thank you, great to hear from you.
Great to be here.
It's a great honor for me to have you tonight on my show, and it's really wonderful that we're going to have some discussion about the recognition of Somaliland and also your association at the same time. So, Tom, we're going to come back to your association. You might going to discuss something about it later on in the program. So now, my question is, Somaliland has been seeking international recognition for the past 30 years. Israel became the first country to recognize it. This raises the question, what were the main and the key factors that led Israel to recognize Somaliland at this particular moment?
Well, you know, first of all, Israel is also a young country. Not as young as Somaliland, but is definitely a young country. And I think that in the first few decades of Israel's existence, it thought of itself as a country that is mainly focused on creating prosperity, creating wealth, minding our own businesses. Israel wasn't operating as a regional superpower. It was operating as a high-tech hub, etc. Until October 7th, and then we found ourselves facing attacks from radical Islamist movements, from the Houthis to Hamas to Iranian regime itself and other Qatar-backed militias. And I think that Israel is understood that they must have a regional strategy, and we must look for allies in the region. And once Israel started looking for allies in the region, it was very natural to see Somaliland, because you are definitely the Israel of the Horn of Africa. You are a democracy, you are successful, you have future, you have a vision, you are not trying to impose your views on your surrounding. You're focused on building your community, in creating future for your children. As we are, we have the same mentality. And we are also, all of us are facing international isolation and pressure and violent actions by radical regimes who are surrounding us, from Mogadishu to Doha, and we face the same problems, the problems of radicalism, the problems of intolerance to whether it's the identity of the Issa clan or other minority groups, whether it's the Jewish identity. We suffer from the same problems. And I think that it was only natural that once Israel started thinking about creating regional partnerships, regional alliance, and after we saw that the Abrahamic Accords with the UAE and Morocco, which again are a new thing in our arena, is a success, and Bahrain of course as well. Is a success, and even that it was tested in the regional war, those relationships are still flourishing, and the relationship between those countries is still very stable and strong, and is creating a lot of prosperity, and even you can say alliance of moderates between Israel, the UAE, Morocco, Bahrain, and now Somaliland as well. And I think that this alliance has a lot to offer, not only for those countries, but to the entire people of the region.
We come back to the Abrahamic Accords and movement as well. But now, do you is it like you have mentioned that because of the strategical location or geopolitical location of Somaliland, that is why Israel chose to have this relationship. Is that correct?
I think that's only one part of the answer. First of all, you are democracy. We are democracy. Democracies understand each other. We have the same mentality of creating prosperity. We have the same vision of tolerance, of creating future rather than failed states like Somalia under its government or Gaza under Hamas leadership. We want something else, and we recognize, first of all, locations. I think that every nation has a strategic location, but first of all, the nations itself share the same vision, and I think that we can recognize it. And location, of course, it's a Somaliland location. It is strategic, and the Bab el Mandab area is, of course, becoming very important for everyone that are trying to secure the international freedom of commerce and the freedom of sailing after we saw in the last 2 years basically an unusual situation where the Houthis were tampering the entire international naval traffic in our region.
Tom, I'll get back to you in a minute. Let me ask you, Ora. You do understand that the recognition of Somaliland has sparked concerns and also reactions from the regional and also international actors as well. How does Israel public view this recognition and and also the new relationship with Somaliland?
So the Israeli public is very happy about the recognition of Somaliland as an independent state and shares the joy of the citizens of Somaliland. Israelis are very, very excited to see people in Somaliland waving the Israeli flag. From our perspective, this is the continuation of the Abrahamic Accords process. It's like a dream come true. It's unbelievable. The Israeli public is happy with every new ally of Israel, every new true friend of our state. I can tell you that immediately after we established the association and its Facebook page, hundreds of Israelis and Jews joined it within just a few days. So although this is a government decision, it completely reflects the desire of the Israeli public for friendly relations with Somaliland.
That is great. I could see when Somaliland is being recognized first time by Israel. A lot of Israeli channels went to the capital city of Hargeisa, Somaliland. They've been celebrating with the with Somalilanders in Hargeisa, and that was like they were waving the flags and everything. It was a great atmosphere there. And Tom, if I come back to you, how does Israel's recognition of Somaliland align with a wider strategy in the Horn of Africa and also the Red Sea?
So I think that you can see that the Israeli UAE axis is becoming an alternative in the Middle East to the radical axis of Ankara, Doha, Mogadishu. And I think that it's not a coincidence that we saw the people in Somaliland rooting with the Israeli flag after Israel's recognition, and afterwards we saw them again rooting for the UAE which is a very important partner for the Abraham Accord and for the future of this region. I think that we all can still hope that more countries, especially countries, the Gulf countries, and not only, will also join this moderate access in the Middle East that is becoming the alternative, both in terms of values. We are free countries. We are countries that don't respect radicalism and hate towards minorities or religious fanaticism. We're countries that are intimidated by the interference of Qatar and Mogadishu and other radical regimes in our affairs. So we have a lot in common, and I think that this alliance is relevant, of course, for the area of the Red Sea, um, and also for the rest of the MENA region. And if you would like to refer to the Horn of Africa in general, so I think that we can also see that in the Horn of Africa, we also have more natural allies, and I specifically refer to Southern Sudan and to Ethiopia, which is a very important force in our region that share the same ideas of creating safe and moderate environment. Um, and I think that this alliance can shape new future for Somaliland, for the future of the international trade routes, and also can inspire more people in the Horn of Africa to see that there is hope and democracy, prosperity, tolerance. The spirit of Abraham can offer an alternative to the radical to the radical elements in the failed states. And maybe one day we will see that instead of speaking about the need of Somaliland to join forces with Somalia, which is ridiculous because Somalia is a failed state, and a failed state can expect a successful state to join forces with it. Maybe we will see the people of Somalia start learning from what Somaliland and the moderate Abrahamic access has to offer.
I mean, with this new relationship, a lot of Somalilanders are expecting that each one's internal problem is to remain as it is. If the problem in the Middle East should remain as it is, as Somaliland's problem locally should be also its own problem, and want to work diplomatically forward, and when it comes to security and also development as well at the same time. Do you believe that the main objectives of this relationship will focus on peace in the region?
Well, peace and prosperity, because I think that we have a lot to achieve together. Israel was always active in Africa in creating prosperity, in empowering agriculture, in supporting our allies in terms of creating water infrastructure, assisting in medical science, in academy relations, etc. Now that Somaliland is our new ally, I think that we can and we should offer a lot of knowledge and many opportunities for Somaliland, because we understand where you're coming from. You were secluded, we were also secluded for many years, surrounded by a regime who didn't recognize us, with no territorial passage to our neighbors, etc. So we understand your need in recognition and in partnerships, etc. You have problems of, for example, creating aviation routes. Okay, we can help with that. You can land in Tel Aviv, and from Tel Aviv you can continue for the rest of the world. You have problem with banking system, international banking system. Okay, we can help with that. We can open. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Israeli government, but I think that this will happen. I think that the Israeli banks will recognize banks from Somaliland, and that will open the way for the Somaliland economy to commerce with the entire world, because the Israeli banks are recognized by the global banking system. Those are, of course, only examples. Israel is a high-tech superpower with many answers for many needs on the ground that are depending on knowledge, technology, innovation, resources, battling desertation, creating solutions for water problems, for communication problems. We have this knowledge, and there's no reason why we won't empower our friends with our knowledge.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Ora, what practical change will this recognition bring diplomatically, economically, and in security cooperation between Israel and Somaliland?
Israel's official recognition of Somaliland as an independent state open up significant strategic, diplomatically, and from the beginning. Israel official recognition of Somaliland as an independent state opens up significant strategic, security, and economy opportunities for both states. Diplomatically, Somaliland seeks recognition from other countries, and Israel might be able to help to advance this interest. Furthermore, the move strengthened the position of Somaliland and Israel in the Horn of Africa region, and assist them in securing the shipping in the Red Sea and Aden Gulf. From security perspective, the alliance with Somaliland can contribute greatly to Israel defense against the Houthis and the Iranian axis. Economically, it will promote cooperation between Somaliland and Israel in all areas. In infrastructure, agriculture, and technology, Israel leads many areas of technology in water desalination, agriculture, medicine, high-tech, and more, as Tom said. And therefore, Somaliland can benefit greatly from the friendship with Israel. Are open now.
Yes, Tom, if I get back to you, do you believe that Israelis' recognition could encourage other countries to follow? And was that a part, if so, was that going to be a part of Israelis' calculation as well?
Yes, definitely. I think that Israel will try to create a wave of recognition in Somaliland, because that serves the needs of Somaliland, and now you are our allies. And Israel is recognized by most of the countries of the world. And in some countries, we have very close alliances. And we saw in the past few years that the become a global trend of recognizing the Palestinian state, even that the Palestinians never declared the Palestinian Authority as a state, and it's not an actual state on the ground. But governments started recognizing it while disregarding Somaliland, which is an actual country on the ground that exists and declared its sovereignty and acting its sovereignty. So I think that Israel took this step partially because the doors were already open. If many countries in Europe and Southern America took upon themselves to recognize the Palestinian state, why can't they recognize Somaliland? Or why can't Israel recognize Somaliland or our allies recognize Somaliland? So without naming specific states, because we can't, I'm not even speaking on behalf of the state of Israel, so of course I won't take the liberty of speaking on behalf of other countries. But I think that we already see that the rhetorics of the US administration and some other countries have already started changing regarding Somaliland, and on some instances Somaliland passports were suddenly accepted, or other positive developments, and I hope that it will mature to actual more countries that will acknowledge Somaliland. I think it's the right thing to do. Why should you be boycotted? You're a country. There's no reason for this international boycott on Somaliland.
Yes, Ora, looking ahead, what does Israel expect from Somaliland as a diplomatic partner in the region?
Israel expects Somaliland to encourage other Muslim countries to make an alliance with Israel, to encourage opposition to terrorism, and in the Middle East, in Africa, and throughout the world. Israel expects Somaliland to work for regional stability, to encourage the residents of the region to choose the path of a decent life and peace. Of course, intelligence and security coordination between the two countries will help it. We hope that that with the help of Somaliland, the Houthis' activity in the Gulf of Aden will be stopped. In general, the State of Israel believes that Somaliland, as a democratic and decent country, can be a good and important partner in every field.
Tom, you are the founder of the Israeli-Somaliland Friendship Association, right? What made you to generate or create this association, and what are your objectives for this?
Well, you know, the governments created the agreements between the governments, and the people on both sides were very happy. We can see that on both sides that the people are very happy, but the people are not connected. We don't know the people of Somaliland. We don't have personal. Israelis never met people from Somaliland. We don't have a legacy of speaking Somali or knowing your culture. We couldn't visit your country before because we didn't have the relationship or the opportunity to do it. So we know very little about Somaliland, and I know that Somalilanders also know very little about Israel. And much of what they do know is shaped by the news that most of them are manipulated by elements from Qatar or other radical elements. And I think that we should have a hub for this cooperation. So the governments can create the bridges, the governments can sign the accords. But when we speak about creating the cooperation between the peoples, between the companies, between the businessmen, between the NGOs, between the civil society organization, between the youth organization, between the academies, okay? We should have a bridge or a hub for people from both sides to address, because they don't know how to communicate or to create cooperation or each other countries. So the Israeli-Somaliland Friendship Association will be the hub for the cooperation between the people. And if businessmen from Somaliland that like to do businesses in Israel don't know how to approach this issue, so they will be able to contact us, and we will be able to supply them with guidance, connections, etc. And if academies from Israel would like to invite students from Somaliland to take classes or participate or any other form of cooperation, and they don't know who to call or how to do it, how to interact. So we will we will create the connection between the two sides. And Ora and myself and our associates, Eric Rubin and Tomer Sapanov, who is the head of Eric Rubin, the president of the association, and Tomer Sapanov, the director of the business center of the association, and the newly appointed Dean Moriel, who will be in charge of content and already started creating interviews with Somalilanders to teach the Israeli public about the Somalilandi culture, etc. And Ariel David, who will be the vice president of public diplomacy in the association and will help Somaliland build recognition and diplomacy power. So that's what we want to create, a place where we can connect between the different actors on the sub-governmental level.
Yes, in any new relationship, there's going to be hard from beginning to go deeper into the culture and also understand how one nation lives in its own way of life. And that sometimes causes kind of like mistakes and errors socially and politically. To find the right people who can help you with it. Have you ever tried and went to that path yet? I mean, I know that association is just new. The relationship is also new as well. You're trying to have a people-to-people relations
Yes.
and all kind of connections. Sometimes when you have no clue what and how other people live in that society, and you try to bring that relationship closer, there are sometimes errors, and when you find or not find the right people to guide you, have you so far got people from Somaliland who you think they have more knowledge in their own country socially, and also the how does the Somaliland society have its own way of life?
Yeah, so first of all, I think that we were very lucky to be more than welcomed by the Somaliland society and the prominent community leaders. I had a very fruitful discussion with your Minister of Strategic Planning, and we had discussions with many senior people from Somaliland, from the government, from the business, from the NGO sphere, and also from Somaliland communities outside Somaliland in the United States and Canada, who are also very eager to help in this effort. So first of all, I think we're blessed to receive guidance and to have the cooperation of everyone on board from both sides. But I think that what you're pointing to is a very prominent point, because many people, whether from both sides, can get lost without knowing each other's culture. When someone from Somaliland is trying to do businesses with Israel, for example, and he's saying, I'm the owner of this land plot, for example, or this company, it's not obvious for Israelis how to verify that he is who he say he is and is not trying to cheat or is not an imposter, because those things happen. For the people from Somaliland, they have the same problem. If they want to connect with the Israeli side, they don't know exactly how to connect, what's the polite way to connect, for example, or who is the relevant address in the Israeli society, in the Israeli economy for their needs. And that's why we're creating this friendship association, so we can consult both sides. And I think Ora can tell you that she's done dozens of meetings with Israelis and Somalilanders who want to integrate with each other. And now we're starting to learn how we can integrate them with each other successfully.
Because of that, you just mentioned that she already engaging with it. Ora, you are the director of this association, right? What have you achieved so far?
So first of all, the establishment of this association close to the recognition of Israel, of the state of Somaliland, the independence of the state of Somaliland. Maybe I'll say it again. So first of all, the achievement is the establishment of the association after declaring the independence of Somaliland by Israel. And now many people, many Somaliland citizens and Israeli citizens and other countries joined the association. And of course, we do it with the coordination of the government and senior officials in both countries. Our goal now is to create the first connections between officials, companies, and organizations in Israel and Somaliland for the purpose of cooperation in all fields. And in addition, to create an intercultural and inter-religious dialogue between the people of Somaliland and the people of Israel. At this stage, we are beginning to formulate the first ideas for joint initiatives and projects that we would like to promote and implement in the future. We strive to help promote initiatives in every field, in the field of energy, agriculture, transportation, health, society, education, tourism, intercultural and inter-religious dialogue, and security and intelligence, as mentioned. And we are already looking forward to see joint sport games between teams from Somaliland and Israel, joint concerts by musicians from both countries, tourists from Somaliland and Israel, and tourists from Israel to Somaliland, in Somaliland, and such wonderful things in the near future.
That's great. Great to hear that. Let me get back to Tom, and finally, Abrahamic movement has been generated, and controversy and differing interpretation on the social media. What is this movement about?
So the Abrahamic movement is a new movement that is fostering shared Abrahamic identity in the people of our region, because all of us are connected through our ancestor Abraham, and both in terms of the faiths, and also in some instances in terms of being a part of the ancestral family. And this means something. The same way that, for example, people from different school of thoughts in Islam, usually they don't fight in each other because they say, you're Hanafi, I'm Hanbali, or things like that. They say, okay, all of us are Sunni, or all of us are Shia, we can live together, and they don't fight each other on internal divisions. And we see the division between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism as an internal division under the house, the monotheistic house of Abraham. We all believe in the same God. We all believe in the same story. We all believe in the same prophets, Abraham, Musa, Harun, Dawood, the prophets are our prophets, are the prophets of Israel. We share the same heritage, and the same way that the EU, the European Union, brought peace to a continent that was fighting because of different identities, and the European identity created enough awareness or enough linkage between the people to stop the fighting. The same way the Abrahamic identity is an answer that can create a new region that people will learn to accept each other as members in the same family and to stop the fighting and the killing. In my book, The Abrahamic Revolution, I wrote the manifesto of political Abrahamism as a moral and ethical response to the radical groups, to the manifestos of radical Islam. And in the last few months, we were building the Abrahamic movement as a global movement with representation in Israel and Somaliland, in Iraq and Morocco and Syria and Indonesia and Pakistan and many other countries. And we can see that it's creating answers for many questions, and I hope that it will create a wave of moderation throughout our region, that the people will learn to accept each other and live with each other and respect the differences between each other, because families can have differences without killing each other.
Thank you very much for both of you, Tom Wenger and also Ora Fishman. I much appreciated that you participate this program. We come back some other time and we'll continue with this kind of an interview in the future. Thank you very much. That's all we have a time for today. Thank you very much and see you again.
Thank you so much. Shalom from Israel.